everybody, Ben Woodruff here with another Falconry video. Today's video, I'm going to entitle The Caretaker of the Gods. Ooh, what does that mean? Well, you're going to find out. Before I jump in, if you haven't already, if you could please hit subscribe. I very much appreciate it. It helps me keep this channel up and running. Now, when we're talking about birds of prey, raptors all around the world, we have a long history with them in humanity. Humanity is at a very interesting place in our history in that we can fly. In fact, we are quite casual about it. There's many forms of flight. It's almost just like you can hop on a bus. You know, you can pay for a ticket and get on an airplane. You can fly to point A to point B. We don't think much of it, of putting hundreds of people on an airplane and traveling across an ocean. But for almost all of humans' history, flight was not something we had. And so certain animals that could fly seemed magical. Now, the small animals like butterflies and dragonflies and little things like that, you could see the fluttering motion. And it's always like, well, you're little, you're fluttering. It's no different than if you see like seeds from a maple tree fall down and spin. You know, there's kind of this fluttering idea. But birds have actual sustained flight. You know, they can flap, but they can glide, they can soar. It almost seemed magical to our ancient ancestors. And it's something we always literally and figuratively looked up in the skies to these amazing creatures who could fly. And that is kind of an interesting thing because we have put bird wings on many of our deity figures throughout time. We put them on angels, which is I always find very interesting because many of the religious people I talk to who have a belief in angels, they don't actually believe. And I'm like, do you believe in angels? Yes. Do you believe angels actually have wings? No. But the depiction, they would love a depiction of an angel with wings. So wings are heavenly. We view them as heavenly, lofty, godly, for lack of a better term. We've always done that. We do that in our art. Even if we don't literally believe that an angel has wings, we will depict them with wings. Because birds, we don't put bat wings on them. We don't put dragonfly wings on them. We put on these deity figures throughout time, we put bird wings. And this is going to get into falconry eventually, but I just have to give this background. So throughout time, we've looked at birds. Eventually, we started keeping birds. When society became agrarian enough, people started keeping birds. Even before the invention of falconry, we know in ancient Egypt, there were two creatures that were probably revered above all else. The first one is cats. Cats are mammals like us. Cats have a symbiotic relationship with us. They like to live with us. They like to cuddle. They like us to feed them and care for them and pet them. But they'll also live around you and cuddle with you and kill the rodents in your house or on your property. And so there's kind of a symbiotic relationship there. We know Egyptians had a great worship of cats. Put cats everywhere, but they also had a great worship of falcons. And we see all over many falcon-headed gods, many falcon gods. Of course, Horus is the most famous. Horus, which the Egyptians did not pronounce his name Horus, they pronounced it Hor, H-O-R. Horus is the Greek version, because later on the Greeks came in and began ruling Egypt, and they added the U.S. on the end. But Horus is a deity figure that we see all over the place. Temples dedicated to worshiping Horus even kept live falcons. Now, they weren't practicing falconry, but they were trying to honor the deity of Horus by keeping live falcons and keeping them well fed and taken care of. Now, this idea started in Egypt originally with ibises. Now, I live in Utah. The ibis species we have here are They're very aloof. They're very wild. You can't get near them. But in many parts of the world, I've been to Florida and seen this happen. I know in Australia, this is the way ibises become practically domesticated in the wild. They're like pigeons. You just feed them. They just come around. So that is the belief that in ancient Egypt, we know that some of the temples had kept vast numbers of ibises to the Egyptian ibis-headed god Thoth. And so then the next jump would be falcons. Well, falcons take a lot more upkeep. You're not just feeding them little bits of food. They need fresh meat every day. And so to keep live falcons would have taken a lot of work. I got a cat meowing in the background. One of the gods, right? So when the idea of this, of keeping these birds close to us, took work and took hard effort. But the payoff was just trying to keep close to the divine. trying to show honor and respect to the god horse. And when those falcons died, they were mummified and made as, again, offerings to the god horse. Well, eventually falconry came about. And what we have seen is falconry is not necessarily a directly symbiotic relationship. A cat and a human doing their thing together. A human and a falcon, well, you're still providing protection and guaranteed meal for the falcon, but the falcon can ditch out on you and it doesn't care. It could leave and be gone, and that's that. So there's this extra level. It's not about loyalty or about love or, hey, look, we're both doing something for each other. It's about, what? Cats meow. Hey, meow. See, cats think they're gods. They still do. They're always meowing, always begging and like, hey, come here, I want this, I want that. You won't have a falcon do that. You won't have a falcon come and demand what it's wanting from you. But the point is that falconry, even in its earliest forms, when they weren't hunting with falcons and birds of prey yet, but just starting to keep them as cultural and religious icons. The point is, there was a demand for respect that the birds themselves demanded. Now, part of it is just because you're taking care of something that can fly. And flight was magical. It's not magical anymore to people, but we still intrinsically know that there's something special about birds of prey, that they do stir up so many emotions, and this is what falconers need to be aware of. So first of all, the part of the minus is it is very easy to establish a sense of arrogance because you get to work with a bird of prey in any form. If you're a wildlife rehabilitator, if you're a wildlife educator, if you work at a zoo, if you're a vet and you get to work with a bird of prey that gets brought in that day, if you're a falconer, it's very easy to let that all go to your head. And I think part of the reason is how we hold birds of prey. There is something about the union of species that conveys an icon of power to humanity out there. So horses are a good example. Okay, you ride a horse. If you're riding a horse and you're like, I'm this great warrior, me and this horse are so powerful, together we are a force to be reckoned with. You don't have that with a cat. You can hold a cat, you can cuddle with a cat, but you're not walking around holding a cat. If you're walking a dog, if you're carrying a little puppy, it's not a symbol of power. You're carrying it. But if you walk alongside a dog, okay, that dog's powerful, you're powerful, but you're not a fusion. Even if they're on a leash and barking ahead, it's kind of like it's your dog. Falconry, it's the same thing as like if you're riding a horse, you and the horse are one. It's the same thing. If you are holding a bird on your glove, you're walking around, this is my hawk, this is my eagle, this is my falcon. There is an unwritten natural assumption from anybody looking. It's like, oh, there's this understanding of they're together as an image, not as a partnership. Cat, hey, you are okay. Come here. It's begging. So what that does for us and what that does to the human mind is it makes kind of a union, kind of a connection that other people see. And that can really stir up a lot of good and a lot of bad. So if you are trying to show you're some great leader of some country and you come out and you're holding a falcon, it is connecting you with the divinity of flight. You know, they're holding a flying predator, something that we put on top of our flagpoles. We put eagles on top of our flagpoles often, right? And they're holding an eagle. So there's this connection, physical connection on your fist to divine ideologies and divine thoughts and divine ideas and divine icons. And that can be very powerful. That can be powerfully used. But it also stirs people up. It can make people very angry. It can make people very jealous, especially in today's world. And one of the things that you have to watch out for, I don't care who you are, if you were working with raptors in any way, it is very easy to let it get to your head because it is special. It is special to be able to work with raptors. It is. But then it starts to get you, I'm special, I'm different, I'm better than other people. And then if you see, and you get that, oh, I'm the person with the bird, haha. And then you see somebody else, maybe you're a falconer and you see some wildlife educator or somebody at a zoo and you have this sensible like, well, I'm more special than you. It's like, None of you can fly on your own. I'm sorry, no human can fly on their own, so I'm not impressed with any of you humans. None of you are a bird of prey. It's the birds of prey that we love, that we're excited about. They are what are cool. Yeah, maybe you worked hard and you got special permits to handle a bird, to work with a bird, to train a bird, to hunt with a bird. I don't care which capacity. Again, a zoo, a falconer, a wildlife rehabber, a wildlife educator, working in the veterinary field. Doesn't matter. What animal husbandry? Okay, if you are holding a bird of prey, it is special, but it's the bird that's special, not you. Don't let it go to your head. And treat the bird with respect. Now, again, it is cool. It is awesome to work with a bird of prey. It is cool to fly them free and have them come back to you. And people do notice. People are like, wow, you're working with a bird. Wow, that's cool. It is cool. Just don't let it go to your head. I see this with every field of every group of people who work with raptors, and they all like to jab at the others. You'll see the falconers jabbing at the rehabbers. The rehabbers are jabbing at the vet people who they're working with a bird that came in that's not theirs, and then they have to get their selfies with it and post it. Today I got a hold of an owl. Ooh. Hey, everybody's always jabbing at everybody else. Why? We all love the birds. The birds were worshipped as gods, not us. They were respected and revered and still are, and they're still powerful symbols and icons. So if you have the chance to work with raptors in any way, just love them and try to find the unity with those other people. Try to build bridges between people who work with raptors in other ways. I've done a little bit of it all. I've been a falconer since I was a kid, but I have worked a bit in wildlife rehab. I've worked at zoos and have done bird shows. I've done wildlife education. I've helped in the vet industry. I've worked in all of these different aspects, and I've seen the venom that people have and how insecure they get. Be your own person. Be strong for who you are. Don't lean on the bird for your own glory. You be epic, let the bird be epic, and you're hanging out together. Don't be like, oh, hey, look how cool I am. Don't be threatened by somebody else working with a bird. If you see somebody else working with a bird in a different capacity than you, go make friends with them. Go talk to them. Ask them questions about their passion and what they love, what got them into it. Ask them and get them to open up to you and build those bridges, because it's ridiculous. The amount of cross information that we can all share with each other is epic, but a lot of it does not happen because people get so their identity becomes so connected with I am the person with the bird and other people are not, that then when they see somebody working with a bird in a different way than themselves, they feel super threatened and they act like a baby. And it's very embarrassing, and the birds deserve better than that. The birds, if we're going to work with these incredible creatures that were worshipped as deity for thousands of years, that fly free and could ditch out on us, unlike a cat. Cats always want to come back and want to cuddle, always want food, always want to beg, always want to be pet. Raptors don't. So the fact that they'll work with us at all, that they can form any sort of a bond with us and fly free and come back is epic. So let's treat it as epic. Let's view it as an honor to do so. It's an honor to be able to work with any wild animal, but especially birds of prey. It is an honor. Treat the birds as such, and treat your fellow people as such. Understand that anybody seeing you holding a bird, they may want to see the bird. Give them a chance if you can. Answer some questions. Understand that they may have something stir up in them of jealousy, or like, oh, the bird should be wild and why is it on your glove? Oh, calm them down and talk to them and help educate them, help them understand. But you understand that just the fact that that might stir something up in them that gets them all flustered up. You have to be aware of that at all times. If you are a caretaker of the gods, that is just how it is. So these are just some random thoughts I was thinking about. Again, I was thinking about in terms of cats versus falcons today. And as the cat was meowing, and I'm like, I'm going to bring this up. So, but let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know your thoughts on what it means to be a caretaker of the gods, what it means to keep a raptor and to take care of it, and what do you think the role is of you as a falconer or a wildlife educator? What, if anything, do you owe the public? Do you owe people who don't have these birds? What do you owe them? How should you interact with them? Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. And as always, happy hawking.